So you're thinking of a move to Denver? Well, today you are in luck. We are going to give you the 15 things you need to know before making the move here. And number 6, nobody is talking about. Everyone's afraid to say it, but we're going to dive into it right now. So you're thinking of a move to Denver, the Mile High City. Maybe you're coming from a different part of the country, East Coast, Southeast, or maybe one of our California transplants, and you are headed on your way here and you're coming from a sea level state. Well, altitude is going to be a factor when you make your move out here. If you've come to visit and you've explored maybe some of the high country here and gone up to those elevations of 10,000 and 14,000 feet, you have definitely noticed it. But even if you're just coming into the Mile High City for a visit, we're 5,280 feet above sea level, so you can experience some altitude sickness. This normally comes along with maybe a headache and some nausea, but there are over-the-counter medications you can take to help ease the side effects of the altitude sickness, but give yourself a little bit of time to get acclimated when you make your move out here. So if you are coming for a visit and you want to explore everything Colorado has to offer, give yourself a day or two to acclimate before you actually start going out to climb those 14ers or explore skiing and snowboarding in the high country, because altitude sickness is something that affects a lot of people when they move here. All right, number 2, the craft brewery scene here in Denver has exploded over the last few years. So if you are a craft beer drinker and you like exploring a lot of different breweries, Denver is not going to disappoint. They are all over the place and more keep on popping up. So we even have different packages here, whether that's from Groupon or other areas where you can actually book a brewery tour, get to hop on a tour bus, get to go on several different tours of different breweries around either the city or even areas like Parker or Castle Rock have similar things where you can do maybe a bar crawl or a brewery crawl and check out a bunch of local breweries here. Now, when you get into Denver, that high altitude does affect your body in some different ways. So generally what I have found that people come here can drink less and get the same effects of the alcohol without having to drink quite as much. And then when people from Colorado go out to places like Florida or South Carolina, where you're at sea level, need to drink a lot more alcohol to get the same effects of it as you do here. So if you are into the brewery scene, Denver will not disappoint. Make sure you check out some of the amazing breweries while you're here. All right. 3, let's get into the weather in Colorado. It's very unpredictable and you do get all 4 seasons here in the Mile High City. A lot of times the weather can be very finicky from day to day. So you may have just a weekend where it was 55 degrees, sunny, even here in the winter, 60 degrees where it's t-shirt weather. You can go out and enjoy all that Colorado has to offer. And by Monday, we may have a snowstorm roll in that might drop 8 inches of snow in the metro area. So it can be very finicky, and different times of the year bring different challenges with weather. One thing that we are fortunate about is we do not have a lot of severe weather, such as hurricanes and tornadoes, earthquakes, those type of things. Occasionally they will come out. A tornado can come through Colorado, but it's fairly rare that that would happen. Things you do have to prepare for here in terms of severe weather are our hailstorms. Every spring and into the summer, we seem to get hailstorms that rip through the metro area, and on some of the outskirts, I do notice that we do tend to get a few more hailstorms down in the Castle Rock area versus northern Denver, but they can happen anywhere in the metro area. And also, if you are in the high country, maybe a town like Evergreen or Conifer or up into Boulder and the Flatirons, you do carry a risk of wildfire danger. So if you're in some of those high countries, be aware of that and make sure that the property that you're searching for, you're able to mitigate some of that fire risk, but maybe cutting down some of the close trees that are around your house just to protect yourself. And then insurance is also a factor when shopping for a home in the high country. So make sure you have a pro, and if you want to live in the high country, there are a few other things that you need to be cognizant of when you're shopping for a home up there. So make sure you call me. Would love to help you out on your relocation to Colorado, or whether you're already a resident of Colorado and you're just looking to move out of your rental into your forever home, make sure that you hit me up. I would love to help you on your home ownership journey. Okay, number 4, traffic in Colorado gets a bad rap, but is it as bad as people say? Well, in certain areas of the metro area, yes, it is. And you need to know which areas to avoid and which areas have alternate routes to get around. I know 225, one of the major freeways that runs kind of from the South Denver area up into Aurora and out to the airport, gets very congested. Traffic on the 225 can be a complete nightmare, but there are ways around it. So when you move out here, it's good to explore some different areas, find out which one is going to be the right fit for you. And if you don't like sitting in traffic, kind of that inner city of Denver is the most congested and the biggest traffic jam-ups on I-25 in the middle of I-70. So if you want to live a little bit further out and not have to deal with quite as much traffic, and you don't have to work in that Denver metro area, there are ways to avoid that traffic jam here. Now, it's not as bad as a lot of cities that I visited, like Houston and LA and some of those log jams where traffic just does not move whatsoever. Traffic in the Denver metro area does have its times of day when it's bad, but generally, if you're going out in a non-rush hour time, you can get in and out of Denver fairly. Okay, number 5. This one kind of plays into the traffic model, but our public transportation system is really not the best. So if you are reliant on public transportation and it is a big important thing for you when you are making your move, make sure you're selecting an area that has fairly reliable and consistent public transportation. Our buses and our light rail system kind of run through the inner cities of Denver and out to some of the suburbs like Littleton and Centennial and even out to Lone Tree, but they can be fairly sporadic, and a lot of the locals don't even use public transportation all of that much. Colorado and Denver in particular is a very car-dependent city, so most of the people that move here do have their own transportation, so they don't have to rely on that little bit unpredictability of the Denver RTD public transportation system. It's definitely nowhere near what they have in like Chicago or New York City or Boston. So if you're coming from one of those areas and you're expecting the public transit to be similar to that, you're going to be pretty disappointed. So make sure that you do have your own vehicle and mode of transportation when making the move out to Colorado. Okay, and number 6. Now, a lot of locals complain that I don't talk about this enough in the video, but the inner city of Denver does have its own homeless problem. The city is doing some things to address it and clean it up, but if you are exploring some of the areas of downtown, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, you will find homeless encampments in different areas, especially around the Capitol building and other areas of Lodo and the lower downtown areas, maybe around the Colorado Rockies Stadium, Coors Field. So just be aware of that. Have a lot of growth in a city like Denver has experienced over the last few years. This is a side effect of a lot of growth and a lot of the affordability issues that have come up for a lot of locals here. So the inner city of Denver does have its own homeless issue. There still will be some. You will find panhandlers on the street, but it is something to consider when you're making your move here. If you're coming from a city that was a small town and there were virtually no homeless whatsoever, you may have a little shock coming into Denver being a bigger city and having that as an issue. Okay, moving on. Number 7. Denver is a sports enthusiast town. We have all the major sports teams in this town, from your Denver Broncos, your Colorado Rockies, your Denver Nuggets, who were last year's NBA championship team. We have a lot of great sports here in the Mile High City, and Denver still lives and dies with the Broncos. Now, this has shifted a little bit over the last, I'd say, 5 to 7 years, since we've had such an influx of people moving into Denver from other areas like California, Texas, and the East Coast. We don't have quite the rabid, diehard Denver fans that we used to. I remember Mile High Stadium, now called Empower Field, used to be just rocking no matter what. Even if the Broncos were terrible, that stadium was loud and packed. Fans have gotten a little bit less passionate, I would say, over the years, given that there are so many other things to do here in Colorado. Okay, number 8. If you are into concerts and you like outdoor concerts in particular, Denver does not disappoint. We have one of the most beautiful outdoor venues for concerts, and that is Red Rocks Amphitheater. I encourage you, when you take a trip out here, make sure you go and explore that area. Red Rocks is a wonderful place to go and see a concert. Also, comedians have highlighted there. So Red Rock's one of the top locations in the country, in my opinion, for an outdoor concert, but there's also different venues kind of around town. Fiddler's Green is kind of a little bit better kept secret here in the South Denver metro area, in the area of Tech Center, just south of Denver. So if you are a music enthusiast and you really enjoy that outdoor concert venue atmosphere where you can enjoy all of what Colorado has to offer while enjoying a great concert, we have you covered in that. Number 9, tying into Red Rock's outdoor activities out here are abundant. So if you are an outdoor just active person and you enjoy working out outdoors, Red Rocks is also a great place to go and enjoy stair climb. And they have different workouts, different groups of people that meet there. But there's also just a ton of other options when it comes to outdoor activities and working out here in Colorado, whether that's paved hiking trails and biking trails, or whether that's natural trails, or we even have some parks around the city that have their own workout facilities kind of built into that. One right here in Castle Rock has its own outdoor gym where you can go get a workout in and do a 200-step incline staircase. So there are tons of opportunities. If you like to live an outdoor active lifestyle, Colorado might be the perfect place for you. Number 10, the local food scene here in Denver has improved a lot over the last few years. But if you're coming from a place like LA or Chicago or New York City, where you have 5-star restaurants almost on every other street, you may be a little disappointed with the food scene here in the Denver metro area. We do have a lot of great local restaurants that you can go and check out. If you are very much into fine dining, having lots of options like that, you may be a little bit disappointed when you come out here to Denver. But we do have a great food scene otherwise, and make sure you check out some of the places to get great Mexican food and green chili, one of the staples of Colorado. Number 11, Denver and Boulder are very bike-friendly, scooter-friendly towns. Locals, not so much. If you're a bike commuter and you enjoy riding a bike to and from work, you may notice in the areas of Denver that there are some that are very bike friendly and have designated lanes for bikes and scooters to get around and zip around the Denver metro area. But once you get out into the suburbs, it is a free-for-all and you are on your own. Now, given that if you live in a far enough away place, maybe southern end of Littleton, and you wanted to commute up into the Denver metro area, up into the middle of Denver, the good news is there are bike trails that are paved, that are out of the way of the road, that you don't have to risk your life on the bike traveling to and from work. So there are a lot of trails where you can get in and around town, but if you're looking for a completely bike-friendly state and city, the inner city of Denver is fairly bike-friendly, and the areas of Boulder are very, very bike-friendly. So those might be top 2 cities as far as options, if that is the most important thing when making your move out here. Moving on to number 12. Denver obviously is a landlocked state, but we also do not have a lot of water sport activities. We do have, your few reservoirs here in the metro area, Chatfield Reservoir and Cherry Creek Reservoir. Those are probably your main 2 sources of bodies of water if you want to enjoy water sports like wakeboarding and water skiing. We don't have a lot of options aside from that. There are some other small local lakes, the Soda Lakes on the west end of town, where you can have non-motorized water sports, whether that's paddleboarding or paddle boat or windsurfing or something of that nature. But in Colorado in general, you don't have a lot of water sport activities. There are bodies of water up into the high country, mainly used more for fishing, maybe whitewater rafting, going down some of those mountain rivers. those mountain lakes can be super cold. So unless you're up there maybe at the end of July, early part of August, and it's the top of summer, probably not going to enjoy those areas quite as much. All right, number 13, this is a local secret. Locals don't visit a lot of the places that you will find online when you're searching for things to do around Denver. One of which, first one that comes to mind, 16th Street Mall. Really not a place that a lot of locals hang out. A lot of locals don't go down to like the Lodo area unless they're there for, say, a Rockies game or maybe Ball Arena for a Nuggets or an Avalanche game. There's just, unless you live in those areas and you want the walkability to enjoy some of the restaurants that are down there, not a lot of locals actually make the trip up there. One, you got to fight for parking and pay for parking on the street or in a garage down there. And at the 16th Street Mall, not the most popular area for number 6 that we had referenced earlier. It's just not a place that a lot of locals like to frequent, so if you're looking for other things to do, head out and explore some of the outskirts of Denver, some of the smaller towns that have small Main Street, downtown, Old Town feel, like Littleton or Arvada, can be great options to explore. Number 14, now locals don't ski as much as people think. I've been a native here and lived here my entire life. I probably haven't been skiing in like 15 or 20 years at least. And reason for that is maybe we just take it for granted, but a lot of the people that come here that are transplants seem to enjoy the mountains and the mountain activities a lot more than the locals do. Maybe we just have gotten kind of used to it and, like I said, take it for granted, but most of us actually don't ski or snowboard. We do enjoy a lot of the other outdoor activities and things to do around Denver and Colorado as a whole, but most of us don't ski all the time. All right, and number 15, if you are thinking of a move here, make sure you are prepared for the cost of living to be slightly higher than maybe the national average and some other areas of the country. Now, we do hear from a lot of people that the cost of living is not actually very bad in Denver at all because they're coming from places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, areas of Dallas and Chicago, and even the East Coast, where cost of living has skyrocketed over the last 20-30 years. So even though the cost of living has increased substantially in Denver from where we were 20 years ago and even 15 years ago, it's still a pretty affordable place to live, and it's a central location within the entire U.S. So if you do travel for a living, it might make sense for you to make Denver your home base, because if you travel to the West Coast for business and you need to get to the East Coast on occasion, Denver is centrally located right in the middle of the U.S. and has an international airport to accommodate travel in both directions. So guys, what did I miss from other locals here? What are some other things that you would tell somebody that is moving into Denver before they get here? I would love to hear your comments below. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you find the content valuable, and as always, hit me up for all your real estate needs. Whether you are looking to make a move here into the Mile High City, call it home. I would love to help you on your journey here, or maybe you're also thinking of making a move out of Denver and checking out some other areas of the country. Make sure you hit me up. I would love to help you and your family on whatever your real estate needs are.